They brought us to the country as a labor force. We built a foundation and they hate us for it. They hate us for it. We built a foundation and they ain't pay us for it. They ain't pay us for it, but they gon' pay for it. Already prayed for it. Non-believers didn't pray for us. Non-believers didn't pray for us. We're black and we built a foundation. Stone by stone, generation to generation. Vultures said we had no culture. Them vultures got a Jay-Z poster. Them vultures got a lazy culture. Vultures eat what they didn't kill. Vultures eat what they didn't build. They brought us to this country as a labor force. We built a foundation and they hate us for it. We built a foundation and they ain't pay us for it. They ain't pay for it, but they gon' pay for it. Already paid for it. Nobody prayed for it. Nobody was in pray for us. Nobody was in pray for us. We're black and we built a foundation. Stone by stone, generation to generation. Vultures said we had no culture. And vultures got a Jay-Z poster. And vultures got a lazy poster.
I'm Jamaican.
You ain't black.
Then what am I?
Jamaican.
I'm black.
You Jamaican.
No.
You Jamaican.
No.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
Okay, describe the difference.
If I go to your...
What color is my skin?
What
color is my skin?
Yellow.
I'm Jamaican.
You ain't black.
Then what am I?
Jamaican.
I'm black.
You Jamaican.
No.
You Jamaican.
Oh my God.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
Okay, describe the difference.
If I go to your...
What color is my skin?
What
color is my skin?
Yellow.
Okay, and it derives from?
Even white derives from black. Even white derives from black. All colors in the color spectrum come from the color black. But y'all have been classified as Jamaicans.
When I fill out a paperwork here in the States, it doesn't say Jamaican anywhere.
How can you describe me as being black? You have a name. You're Jamaican.
And you're American.
You know me?
I'm black.
I am the original Jamaican.
Okay, I'm black Jamaican.
It don't say that. You're making something up now. It don't say that. Our paperwork, we have to check something. When you go back home, you don't check nothing. You're automatic Jamaican.
Right.
I'm not automatic American. I'm automatic black. You see what I'm saying? So when we say black, we talking us. Y'all ain't us. Don't y'all got Jamaican food?
Yes.
Don't y'all have a Jamaican culture?
Yes.
We don't. So we those seeds. We are not African seeds. We don't have no African bloodline other than what the white boy have.
Because he does not understand the difference between race, ethnicity, and identity. And yes, as he said, Puerto Ricans has got...
Arrested, you will see tattoos. You see many on his neck and chest. He has a 1200 tattoo on the back of his neck. He has the name of people from 1200 who have been murdered tattooed on his body. And in this video, you will clearly see in the evidence Mr. Davion Murphy taking full credit for his role in this shooting. That is just after his arrest, when he has left. in an interview.
And Ms. D, do you think that the prison would benefit from him in a work capacity if he were sentenced to life without parole?
I say yes, with my experience, not only just in classification, but as former warden and even as a jail administrator. He's someone that's young, he's healthy. In reality, we need that labor, we need that sweat equity, and we will put him out there to work because we do have an aging prison population, jail administration, we have that. So we put these young individuals to work and get some equity out of them since they do the work.
And we talk about life without parole and death row, but for our jurors' education, in Florida, what does a life sentence without parole mean?
A life sentence in the Florida Department of Corrections means from the minute they're brought in, they're assigned an inmate number. He will be assigned an inmate number, and when he dies and leaves in a body bag, he will still have that inmate number. An inmate serving life will never, ever get out. There is no parole in the state of Florida, and they're not ever allowed outside the razor wire and the fence of a secured facility.
So the only way that an inmate serving life without parole would leave is when they die by natural causes.
Ms. Gathright, you have characterized your and your brother Sean's childhood as a good, nice, loving childhood growing up. Isn't that true, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
You said that both of you had wonderful, loving, supportive relationships. Isn't that true, ma'am?
Yes.
And specifically when talking about male role models, you said that he had a wonderful relationship with his stepdad, Brian.
Yes.
He also had a wonderful godfather. His grandmother, Lisa Gathright, you both had wonderful relationships with her. Your grandfather, both you and your brother Sean, relationship with him as well. When you all were living in Japan, you said that Sean was had a lot of activities. He was very good in karate. Isn't that true?
Yes.
So good, in fact, that he got a blue belt in karate.
Yes.
So he was able to participate in a lot of activities. Isn't that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Very supportive family, both your mother as well as his grandparents.
Yes, ma'am.
Made sure that he was active and had lots of activities, including sports,
Yes.
traveling.
Yes.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay.
Before we get started, don't forget we have a Memorial Day weekend event at the Hidden History Museum. That is May 23rd. Ladies and gentlemen, that's next week, not this coming Saturday, but the Saturday after. So I want to see you in the building, ladies and gentlemen. I want to see y'all in the building, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a stone. .com, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Yeah, May is flying by, ain't it? Yeah, the ticket's only $29. Yeah, very, very reasonable. Very, very reasonable. The dates, May 23rd. Saturday, May 23rd, 7 p.m. All right? All right. Let me get into it. Now, you know what we got to talk about? The first thing I want to talk about, have y'all been following that trial down in Florida? The case of the rapper, the former rapper who got unalived, Julio. For those who don't know, there's a rapper named Julio. Down in Florida, who was beefing with a lot of cats down there. In Jacksonville, where my Florida people? Were they in Jacksonville? I want to say Julio and those cats were out there in Jacksonville. All right, my Florida people, right. So Julio was very disrespectful when he was alive. Boy, he would write raps about unalived ops and go to the graveyard disrespecting, doing music videos and, just going out of his way to be disrespectful, playing with the streets. And you know how the streets do, unfortunately. You know, everybody, they got their lick back. There was a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them plotted and planned to get him. They caught him at his birthday party. Some of his ops were tracking him, and some girls were giving locations to where he was going throughout the night. He had like a birthday party where he was kind of popping up in different locations, and there was some chick on the inside, basically, from what I understand, kind of giving up some locations. So they were planning and plotting. Yeah, he was acting a fool. He was acting a fool out here. He was baiting the streets, and the streets answered. He caught what he was looking for, unfortunately. And now the suspects, well, they hit him. They drilled him. They got him. And how many defendants is it? It's about 5 or 6 defendants. Boy, they throwing them all under the bus. All right? They are throwing them under the bus. They've been convicted. They're all guilty, basically. And some of them are up in court crying on the stand. The little light-skinned one, well, a lot of people are focusing on him. I forgot his name. The little light-skinned one. And he's like part Jamaican. Then they have his Jamaican grandmama up there, Bumba Clyde. So he's like mixed with something. He's not FBA. But, yeah, they're getting cooked down in Florida. Oh, they're getting cooked. And they're talking about the one little light-skinned dude. Oh, he was a good student. He grew up in the suburbs. He wasn't really a hood dude. And he's in there crying.
Stop the cap.
And I know they were doing some cross-examinations on him. The prosecutor was lighting him up. They were like, yeah, is this you with the AK, sir? With smoke still coming out of it. Were you remorseful then, sir, when you had that AK? Yeah, they're lighting him up. So, yeah, he was basically trying to get some hood stripes, out here playing with the streets, and that's not what he was really about. All right. See, that's why, man, if y'all ain't about that shit, man, get up out the street shit. Y'all don't know the ins and outs. Cats be sitting up here watching movies, doing reckless-ass nonsense. That's why real hustlers don't like all that old reckless nonsense. I understand, you know, street rules are street rules. Sometimes you might have to clap back on ops. I get it. I'm not saying I'm not how street rules are. That's the hemmed up. He's showing out. You letting these little hood rats talk you into drilling because you're trying to impress them, and they're sitting right up there on the stand with you. You understand? But listen. Thank you. Y'all say my wife is beautiful. Yes, my wife is fly. That is my FBA queen, Miss Alexis. Yes, indeed. Tethers, they try to lie on my wife. They say she's all types of shit. They say she's Jewish, Haitian, Dominican, Puerto Rican. She ain't none of that. That's an FBA queen right there. Well, she's not Caribbean, and shout out to the Caribbeans. There's some lovely Caribbeans out there. My wife ain't one of them. She's an FBA. You know? But listen. Excuse me. I want y'all to understand something. When y'all try to get out here in these streets, that pride, ego, adrenaline, all that runs the show with a lot of these new dudes, man. Y'all start feeling invincible. You're riding around with your little clique. You're drilled up. You're fueled by a beef. This dude is disrespecting your block. But listen, your street cred is going to vanish when you get up in that courtroom. Understand that. You better be able to stand on it. Don't go into court crying. All right, when you choose that street shit, hold your head up. It was one of them dudes in there. He's in there all laughing. It was one of the suspects. Did y'all see that? One of the suspects, he's in there. He already knows what it is. He's accepted it. He's in there giggling and laughing. He already knows it's a wrap for him. He's accepted it. Yeah. He has accepted that. Yeah. And listen, you don't get in there crying and boo-hooing now. I want y'all to understand something. Listen, you can't operate on the streets like cats did back in the day. Y'all trying to move around like it's 1995. Now, the days of you out here just doing these blatant drills and all that shit, man, ain't no shadows out here no more, man. We live in a whole different world of Ring doorbells, Tesla cameras, traffic light sensors, license plate readers, cell tower pings. Boy, they had every inch of that crime caught. Do y'all know that? When they were showing, dude, it was like a reality show. They had so much footage of them damn dudes. They had license readers following every move them dudes made. They had footage of everything. Do y'all understand that? Hotel cameras, Ring cameras, they showed them ditching the car, getting the car. I think one of the dudes, they used his mama's car. They showed them loading the pew-pews up in the car at one location. They had everything on film, dude. Damn. Yeah, y'all should have did like Chud and just made a reality show out of it, because there's so much damn footage of y'all ass. Like, damn. They had footage of those dudes from the beginning to the end, dude. From top to bottom. Yeah, we live in a whole different world right now, man. There's dozens of digital eyes watching from every angle. You're not just fighting the police, man. You're fighting a high definition reality of technology. Yeah, there's a network of cameras out here. So cats got to be cognizant of that. And understand how law enforcement, they allow some of the bullshit to go on. You understand? They know Fulio was out here baiting people and all that stuff. They know that. But they don't intervene. They just sit here. Okay, God damn, hold on. I'm sorry, these people keep making these damn requests, messing up my focus. I'm trying to focus and chop it up. But listen, man, law enforcement, they could have stopped this stuff, but they don't want to. I want y'all to understand something. See, y'all think y'all slick because y'all getting away with certain things. You planning and plotting, and you're getting away with the planning and plotting. They're watching your ass. They're still watching. They're just letting it happen. They don't step in because they see it boiling over on social media. They see y'all beefing with each other. You understand? Bruh. Law enforcement stays on social media. The feds, look at TikTok, all the feds that be on here whining about our lineage. That's fed shit. But law enforcement stays on social media, instigating beefs, documenting beefs, watching the back and forth go on and on. And in their mind, they're going to let the streets clean itself up. So in their minds, they're like, why intervene for a single altercation when you can just wait and let all the bodies drop and then get you a nice big RICO? You can get the whole pond, not just a couple of fish, get the whole pond. You hit the whole surviving crew with a massive RICO. You let all the players take themselves off the board and just sweep up the rest. That's exactly what they did. Yeah? And also what they want to do is feed the prison industrial machine right now. Right now, the jails are struggling. They need young folks in there. They were saying this in court, by the way, because they're trying to decide whether to give old boy, one of those cats, the death penalty or to give him life. And they had a warden up in there who was saying, yeah, give him life because we could use them in the jails. We need bodies to do work. We're going to put them to work when they go to jail. They're saying all this in the open. Yeah, they're like, yeah, we can get some sweat equity out of them. It sounds like Django or some shit, dude. Man, did y'all see that? Man, they were saying the quiet part out loud. They were like, no, don't unalive him. Oh, he's young. We need young prisoners. Oh man, it was deep. It sounds like some slave plantation stuff. Like, yeah, we gonna work him. Yeah, he's gonna come in with an inmate number, and he's never gonna leave until he's gonna leave with an inmate number. He's never getting out. He's gonna be working for us forever. Yeah. See, a lot of people have a fundamental misunderstanding of how the system works. Jails and prisons are massive institutions that require bodies to justify their budgets. And they're profit centers, basically. So when you get into these deadly, senseless beefs, you ain't act like no boss. You're being an unpaid recruiter and inventory for the prison industrial complex. They want you to make mistakes like that. And a lot of these cats, man, they got a real disconnect between acting this stuff out and the consequences. I think a lot of these dudes watch movies. They think you can drill on people and then nothing happens. It don't work like that. It don't work like that at all. Pulling the trigger, that takes a fraction of a second. Especially if you don't know what you're doing. You ain't no real hitter. Now, you got some real hitters out here who know how to move and shake. But these are little goofy internet thugs who try to take that shit to the streets and then get hemmed up. You make your whole block hot. Your hood gave you up, by the way. You better believe, y'all internet thugs who try to take it to the streets, your hood gives you up. Because when they start knocking on doors, asking questions, snooping around, what happens is that slows the money down on the streets. And the real street cats, they don't want them knocking on doors, coming down to the trap, asking about your dumbass unaliving some goofball rapper. That's bad for business. Don't nobody want you to come down to the trap. Nobody wants you to come down to the chop shop with that. Nobody wants you to come down to the blade with that bullshit. You messing up money. Yeah, that's how the streets think. You make the whole hood hot doing all that shit. Or a high-profile rapper, and y'all do a brazen hit like that with all them people involved. Boy, your hood is hot as hell. They went up in y'all hood and shook the tree, and everybody gave y'all up. They started giving y'all up left and right. Yeah. Let's be real, man. There's a lot of clout chasing and self-snitching out here, man. You see, a lot of these situations are fueled by internet culture, diss tracks, Instagram live taunts. You're trying to treat life and death situations like reality TV. So law enforcement don't even have to work that hard to piece together a timeline no more. So you're documenting your own downfall in real time. You understand? It's heavy stuff out here. So you got to be very careful. We'll say that the tethers are jealous of me. Oh yeah, the tethers, they hate that I get the level of respect that I get. Yeah. 18. Birdie, what you talking about over there, brother? Speaking of tethers, man. You see my lovely queen right there, Miss Alexis. Today, and I'm a little tired because I had to get up early because she drops the kids off at school early in the morning. Because I'm up here with y'all asses late at night, so I sleep in. So she takes them to school in the morning. And so she called me at the school. She's like, I got in a car accident. Somebody hit the damn car. She was parked with the kids in the car. And luckily nobody got hurt. But somebody hit the front tire of our Suburban and just knocked that shit off the axle. You know how the tire is like dented in? Oh, it's janky as hell. How did y'all know? Somebody said African. How the hell did y'all know? Yeah. How did you know? Yeah. Y'all, how the hell did y'all know? It was a damn African woman. How did y'all know? But y'all knew before I could even say it. How the hell did y'all know? Y'all already damn knew. A damn African woman ran into the car and then started acting like it wasn't her fault. Yeah, she was like, yeah, this woman started yelling at me. She's like, yeah, why didn't you move? She's like, bitch, I'm parked. What are you talking about? Yeah, the African woman had a damn attitude. No, it was a woman whose kid go to the school. Yeah, her kid goes to my kid's school. Yeah. Now, she did have insurance level. We thought it was about to be a hit and run, but I think she went around the corner because there was already a school. The school police was there. So everybody saw what happened. It was very loud. Everybody saw what happened. So she gets back up there acting like my lady hit her. What is this shit? Nigga, you hit me. You did not move out their way. And everybody was like, no, ma'am, no, we saw you. You know we saw you, right? Even the police was there like, you bitch, we saw you. She's sitting there acting like she's the victim and you hit a parked car, Unchuke. You hit a parked car. You know? Dude. So yeah, I was all day, so we were towing it, getting the car towed, then I had to tow it to the house, and it was real janky. The tire was all janky. They had to put it on a flatbed, and then I had to call my insurance company and then get with her insurance company. Yeah, it was a whole thing. So it's getting taken care of. But yeah, this damn African tether hit my lady and my kids today. That's funny. Y'all already knew what it was. Somebody said it was a win for tethers. So was it the tether trying to get back? Was that what it was? Man. Yeah, no. But yeah, just the audacity. The woman had an attitude. You know? Man. And yeah, my lady said her car was already dented up like she's already been in a whole bunch of other accidents.
Oh my God!
You know? So it looks like she's been in a whole bunch of accidents already. Yeah, and her insurance company is real janky. It's like a real janky ass insurance company. Like one of these old no name, low budget ass insurance companies. They're like Hot Pockets insurance. It was some real janky ass insurance she got. Some old bullshit ass insurance. Like, man, come on, dude. Yeah. The wife, the kids are fine. Yeah, everybody's fine. Mateo's ass was like, so we ain't got to go to school? Well, no, get your ass in that damn school. my son, he be trying to get his ass up out of school. He be trying to finesse himself up out of school all the time. I'm like, no, well, get your ass in there. Yeah. Man. But that is what it is. I got it. Y'all hear, I hear the chirping in the background. One of my alarms, my house sounds like Rohan's house. One of my smoke alarms is beeping. I don't know which one it is though. Because every time I go upstairs to try to wait for it to beep, it won't beep. But when I come back downstairs, it just starts beeping like crazy. So I got the hood rat alarm chirp going on. I'm like Rohan. Yeah, we bathed the dogs. We got the skunk scent for the most part off the dogs. We gave them a skunk bath. Yeah, the skunk escaped. The skunks put that ass spray on my dogs and got the hell on up out my yard. But I did give them a skunk bath today. So they're in the house now. They're over here chilling right now. All right, let me get some of the family in here. All right. Let me check your ADT app. Okay. Time the beeps. Like right now, it's not doing anything right now. It's not consistent. Man. All right. Let me see who's in here. Let me talk to the family in here. I see Juan. Let's get Juan in here. I'm just getting random people. Let's get random people in here. Mr. Juan, you in here?
Yo, what's up? Tariq, what's good?
I'm good, Mr. Juan. How are you, sir?
I'm well. Just on my job, man. On my job.
Oh, how's everything how's everything at Amazon?
Oh, no, I ain't at Amazon. I'm on the ship right now. Hold on.
Oh, cool. Are you up on the ship?
Yeah, I'm working on the ship, man.
Oh, like, is it a cruise ship?
Nah, it's a ship, a Navy ship.
Oh, you in the Navy?
Something like that.
Not with that hair.
Stop the cap.
Yeah, not with that hair.
Yeah, man, yeah. The FBA brothers is in it.
They let y'all get in the Navy with the hair? Oh, what happened, brother? Oh, okay. Oh, what happened, brother? Oh, okay. I don't know what happened to the brother. Oh, there you go, Juan. There you go.
Yo.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you like a contractor or something?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Okay, okay. How long you been doing that, brother?
6 years, going on 7.
Love that. Man, so what's going on? Your name is Juan. Where's your family from, Juan?
Yeah, my mom from Virginia, my dad from Virginia, everybody from Virginia.
Why they name you Juan then?
Stop the cap.
My name Kowan. I just go by Juan on the internet.
Kowan. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
Kowan.
Kowan, my brother, man. How's everything over there on that ship?
Man, it's all right. It's a lot of rainy week in Singapore. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty good.
Yo, yeah. Oh, you keep breaking up, brother. Oh, yeah. That reception is bad. He's all the way out there in Singapore. Yeah, the ship receptions, a lot of those ship. Oh, there you go. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Just kind of going in and out. How's everything in Singapore?
Yeah, it's real good. It's real cool. It's real cool, man. It's a lot of hard work. I'm working every day.
Oh, it's
Working
good.
every day, so
I love that.
12
man.
hours. I'm
Keep your money.
trying to hold it down, man.
My man, keep doing your thing, man. Get your money up, man. Respect to that. Yeah, let me get it. The reception is bad. All right, that's good, man. Brother out there doing his thing. That's what we need. All right. You don't judge a book by its cover. He's out there getting his paper. I love that. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Yeah, a lot of these cats who are not in the military, they contractors for the military. One of my cousins do. He's on that. My cousin has told me a million times what he does for a living. He says he's a contractor, engineer, and he does stuff for the military. I don't know exactly what it is, but his ass be traveling. He be traveling and balling out. So, yeah, shout out to them brothers. Okay, who is this, man? Come on. Man, what's up, dude?
I believe.
Oh, nothing. There we go. Get out of here. Stop requesting. Shit. All right. Let me see who else we got. The hell out of here. All right. Let's see who we got, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all raise them hands. Let me talk to the family. Y'all raise them hands. Let's see. We got Huey. Let's try Huey. Let's see. She Supreme. Just get a bunch of y'all in here. Huey.
Hey.
That's She Supreme?
Yes.
How you doing, beloved?
I'm doing good. I'm just laying in the bed. It's like 3:10 in the morning.
Oh, where you at? Baltimore somewhere? Where you at?
New York.
New York. Man. How you been, dear?
I've been doing good.
And
I
who's
had
in
just
that
gotten
bed
up
with
to get a glass of water.
Oh, you want to
And I
late
just
night
came on
thirst?
TikTok to be right. I just
with your
came on to be
bonnet.
nosy and I saw you were on. I said, let me go see what Uncle Tariq is doing.
Up here chilling. Up here chilling. What time you got to get up?
I have to be at work at 5:30, so I have nobody's
Damn.
business being up right now. Nobody's
know,
business.
Man, you better get in there and put that bonnet on and roll over. There you go. Thank you so much, She Supreme. All right.
We'll work for you. Nothing else will do. I got that rule work for you. And reservations for two.
My name's Sean Gathright, SEANGATHRIGHT. I was born on October 20th, 2005.
Mr. Gathright, you've heard people speak here today on your behalf and yesterday, and I know that you wanted to address the court and the jury. So I would like to ask you what you want the jury to know.
I just want to address the court today, and, you know, I'm not here to dispute anything. I'm just here to be a man and take responsibility and express my feelings about what is, you know, this situation. You know, that's what I plan on doing.
Okay. And how do you feel? What?
I feel very remorseful, you know. This is a terrible situation. It's been a traumatic experience. You know.
Let me ask you this. So, how old were you when you were arrested?
I was 18 years old.
We heard that you had started some college, obviously probably didn't get very far, right?
Right.
What have you done since you've been in jail? Is there programs? Are there things that you can do?
So, you know, I've gotten into programs. I've also, you know, I grew up, you know, in church in a Caribbean household. My life took, and, you know, taking a lot of religious programs. I've read the cover. I've shared some word, and, you know, we have prayer circles in the jail and stuff like that. I've led a couple, you know, prayer circles, and I've tried to, you know, kids around my age or, you know, younger, you know, since I'm 20 years old now, when you turn 18, you know, you go to the adult pods and stuff like that. So if I see somebody who I see, you know, has a lot of potential and has a chance to keep them from, you know, basically being able to be corrected at this opportunity and not come back, you know, I try to take them under my wing. As you see, I have a lot of resources and a lot of family that love me, and they've even, you know, asked me like, hey, is there anybody in there who doesn't have somebody like that, who, you know, could we send them some money, like, you know, anything like that. So I've tried to, you know, be a vessel for God to pour over my blessings into those around me.
We heard from Mr. Benoska, who said that, you know, in prison that there is opportunities at times to be a mentor, or you do orientations and peer-to-peer things like that. Is that something that you'd be interested in doing?
Of course, you know, I definitely want to, you know, try my absolute best to course correct anybody from falling down a path that they don't have to take, especially the youth. I feel like that's my calling that God has put on my heart to, you know, be a mentor to the youth and be a positive influence in this world.
What about those relationships? Like you said, you have a lot of people. Are you able to maintain those relationships now?
Yeah, so, I mean, everybody who I, you know, maintain a relationship wasn't able to all be here today or, you know, even testify. But, you know, I talk to them daily, weekly, bi-weekly. You know, I cherish my supporters very deeply, and I want to maintain a relationship with them for the rest of my life.
And I know, you know, we're not going to talk about the case itself, right? But you said that you were taking accountability, you felt remorseful. Tell us what you mean by that and what statement you want to make.
To the victim's family, you know, I want to send my deepest condolences, and my, you know, I understand that it's hard losing a child, a best friend, a brother, a cousin, and for that I just cannot say sorry enough. You know, I feel terrible about the situation, but I'm a firm believer that God can use anything for good that the devil wants it for bad. Bruh. And so I am grateful for the people I've met, for the lessons that I've learned, for just this experience in general, because it's one that I'll never forget, and it's going to shape the rest of my life.
Sounds like there's that saying, it's kind of cheesy, but you make lemons out of lemonade or whatever.
Lemonade out of lemons.
somehow. I obviously don't make lemonade, but it sounds to me like you are going to try and make the best of a bad situation. Does that sound about right?
Of course.
And are you going to continue to do that?
Of course. I'm going to try to, continue a humble life, a righteous life, try to do the right things at all times and,
Will you apprise yourself? We've heard about some, courses and programs and things that you can get involved with to stay busy in prison. Is that something that you plan to do?
Yeah, so hearing Raul's testimony was, the first glimpse that I have of, what prison could be like. I want to stay as busy as possible, stay away from bad apples. I want to, keep a job, get into programs, try to get into any vocational things I can do, try to, keep my record clean to, go to the best incentivized things and have visits with my family. And, I just want to just stay out the way, just want to make everything, peaceful as can be.
So even knowing that you're not getting out of prison, you want to make the best of your stay there?
Of course. I mean, who wouldn't? If you're going to be somewhere for the rest of your life, why would you make your life a living hell?
And you're young, right? You're 20?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, may I have a moment?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Stay.
You would agree with me that Charles Jones was young too, wasn't he?
Relatively young, yes, sir.
26, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what the evidence showed us, correct? You were sitting here.
All right, so family is not one-sided, and he's pleading for life. Not that he's trying to run from the DIE penalty, right? So, of course, his lawyer is going to paint him like a puppy, innocent puppy. But now we have the state question him, saying, "Nah, this ain't a puppy. This ain't somebody who deserves a second chance or deserves to, live the rest of his life in prison. He needs to go." So this is them responding.
Watching that, correct? The evidence that came in over the last several weeks?
I was right there.
Yeah. And you want to take accountability now, correct? You want to take accountability now that this jury has found you guilty, correct?
Yes, sir.
Weeks after we went. Is that your testimony?
Objection, Your Honor.
Let me see.
We just have one moment, Your Honor. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Stage 25C, you remember Gino Norris?
Yes, sir.
You remember him? He was also really young when this happened, wasn't he?
I didn't know how old he was.
Early 20s, 22. Would that surprise you? Gino Norris, who's not a gang member, who's Charles Jones' friend from the time they're...
Come on up, counsel.
26C, Xavier Edwards. 25C, Gino Norris. And you saw the autopsy photos of Charles Jones. My question to you is, after you and your friends inflicted that carnage on June 23rd, and as you were running States 2059C, this is actually you running to shoot them, but when you were running back past that Tesla, were you feeling a lot of trauma at that point?
It was so long ago, I try to not remember anything from that night.
Were you remorseful as you were running back with that AR-15 in your hands?
Like I said, I try to remember nothing from that night.
Was it traumatic to you as you went back to the car with that AR-15? Was it still smoking? Was it still warm in your hands from firing it?
Sustained injection.
Were you feeling remorse as you were getting back into the Impala?
Like I said, I just try to focus on today and moving forward.
So the next day, that Impala, that was your car. You drove that around, right? It was your mom's. No.
Yes, sir, it was my mother's car.
Right. And that was the car you drove from Jacksonville to Tampa in, correct?
I'm objecting on stuff.
I'm working to a point, Your Honor.
Okay, why don't we just get there?
All right. So this car, this Impala that you drove from Jacksonville to Tampa in with Mr. Chance and Miss Andrews, the one that you drove in tandem with the Silver Cruise, the same car that you utilized to drive the assault team, the shooting team, which you were a part of that night, that same car that you drove around Tampa in the early morning hours for several hours, tracking, stalking, and hunting Charles Jones and his entourage.
Sustained.
That same Impala, you drove that to Polk County the next day, and you dropped it at your grandmother's house, right? The same grandmother who came in here last night and testified for you, correct?
Overall, go ahead. You can answer that question.
Isn't that correct?
What is the question?
You dropped the Impala, the one that had all of these shooters in it, the one that was utilized in this murder, that was such a vital cog in this plan. You dropped it at your grandmother's house in Auburndale, didn't you?
I'm here to testify about today.
Are you going to answer that question, or are you going to avoid it? Because that's not what I asked what you were doing here today. I think we all understand what you're here to do today, what you're testifying about. I'm asking you specifically about your remorse. Were you remorseful when you dropped that car off and left it at your grandmother's house in Auburndale?
I did go to my grandmother's house.
Were you feeling remorse when you hugged her and got into the 4Runner and left her with the Impala after you wiped it down?
Sir, I'm just telling you that today I would like to express my remorse to
I understand what you're trying to do today. I'm asking you, since you're trying to convince this jury that you're remorseful, were you feeling remorse that next day or later that day?
I don't remember these days in detail, how I was feeling, what I was thinking.
What about later that night when you went to Orlando? Were you feeling remorse when you were out partying at Club Parlay, celebrating what you had done that day?
That was my sister's birthday party.
What did you feel any remorse while you were drinking Don Julio tequila and putting that in your video and throwing gang signs?
I can't testify about today, sir. We've all seen the evidence. We've all reviewed everything.
Mr. Chance, it's not time for you now to make speeches. You've politely answered your counsel's questions. Can you not answer the state's questions? Is there something about my question you don't understand?
I was getting to.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gathright. I called you Mr. Chance. Excuse me.
I was getting to my answer. Like I said, I've seen all the evidence.
Well, we've all seen all the evidence.
Yes,
right?
sir. That's true.
And after all that evidence came in, and this jury based their true verdict on that, convicting you. Now you're taking accountability? Is that correct?
Sustain the objection. I think the question on the table is remorse about okay?
It is, Your Honor.
You just need to answer that question.
So I'm going to ask you very specifically, okay? So try to focus with a laser beam here, Mr. Gathright. Were you feeling remorse when you were in Club Parlay in Orlando drinking Don Julio? Were you feeling remorse for what you did earlier that day?
I don't remember how I was feeling or what I was thinking.
Were you feeling remorse
Stop
when
the
you
cap.
got pulled over in the Forerunner a couple of days later by the police?
I don't remember. I was nervous. I mean, I had never been involved in any police.
Were you feeling
matter.
remorse when you were
Stop the
unloading
cap.
the Impala and putting all of that evidence into the Forerunner? Did you feel remorse?
Sir, I told you I don't remember how I was feeling or what I was thinking in those days.
Mr. Gathright, you have led, you would agree with me, an extremely privileged life, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
You would agree with that, correct?
I would.
You've had a loving mother, correct?
Yes, sir.
A loving sister, correct?
Yes, sir.
You've had 2 wonderful grandmothers, correct?
Yes, sir.
You would agree with me, right?
I couldn't deny that.
One of which probably, I'm assuming, sacrificed and paid for you to go to that private school, that preparatory school, correct?
It wasn't paid. It was a magnet program, so I had to apply, and it was a lottery system.
It was a lottery system. Okay, so it was a magnet.
Yes, sir.
All right. She supported you going there, did she not?
Everybody did.
Gave you open use of her house, welcomed you, treated you, and parented you basically, didn't she?
Yes, sir.
Took care of you when your parents were deployed, correct?
Yes, sir. At the time, I was living with my grandmother. Both my parents had been either retired or out of the military. I was just living there more so. I needed a change of scenery, and my relationship with my father wasn't sustainable.
Okay. This is when you're in Oxford with your grandmother.
Yes, sir.
The nice lady we saw earlier came in here.
Yes, sir.
The one that has supported you and spoke so lovingly about you, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so you went to this preparatory school, and whether you got in there through a lottery or not, you would agree with me, not everybody gets to go to a school like that, correct?
The lottery school, the magnet school I went to was in middle school when I was living in Jacksonville. The school I went to in Oxford, it was just a public high school.
A public high school.
Yes,
okay, my mistake. So you went to that preparatory school in Jacksonville.
Yes, sir.
But again, that school was not something that every kid gets to go to, right?
Oh, sir.
Not every kid gets to have a counselor and a role model like Mr. Edwards, correct?
No, sir. I was very blessed.
And not many children get to fly in planes with their stepfather, correct?
No, sir.
And fly around in Asia and get to see islands off the coast of Okinawa, correct?
No, sir. I was very blessed.
You are very blessed, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
And not every kid gets to go to Scotland, right?
No, sir.
Or Ireland.
No, sir.
Or Paris.
No, sir.
Or London.
No, sir.
Or Spain.
No, sir.
Cape Town or Johannesburg? Or both in South Africa?
Cape Town.
Cape Town, beautiful city, right? You got to go experience that when you were growing up, correct?
I did.
Because you had such loving people around you supporting you, correct?
Yes, sir.
In fact, your grandmother went with you on that trip, did she not? Or not on that one, but on the ones to
Several
Europe,
trips,
correct?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And we heard you got to meet up with your sister in one of those trips, correct?
I did. I had the privilege.
So you always had someone there taking care of you, and you always had good, strong male role models, including people at your grandmother's church and your stepfather, Mr. Harrington, correct?
I had male role models in my life growing up, but in my more formative years, more so 16 to 18, I did not have a relationship with my father, and the male role models that came and testified, they were present but not intimately as whenever I was younger, maybe middle school years. But when I turned around 16 to 18, it was the females that actually had that caregiving and nurturing relationship with me. But
Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate it.
yes,
So,
sir. Towards the more recent years, I didn't have that one-on-one and very close relationship with, you know, those male role models in my life. You know, you heard my stepfather say, you know, after the divorce.
I did hear that, Mr. Chance. Let me stop you,
Mr.
okay,
Gathright.
and go back to my question. I'm sorry?
Mr. Gathright.
I'm sorry. I keep calling you that, Mr. Gathright. Let me go back to what you said earlier. Between 16 and 18, you didn't have a male role model? Is that what you're telling the jury?
I'm not saying I didn't have any male role models, but day to day, you know, young men need strong.
That's not what I asked. I asked if you had a male role model between 16 and 18.
I had a figure that I could go to, but not intimately.
Mr. Edwards, right?
Yes, sir.
He had stayed in contact with you even when you graduated into high school, correct?
Yes, sir. We definitely maintained a relationship, but
And he seemed to be pretty enthusiastic about that, right?
Yes, sir.
In
Yes.
fact, you went on a cruise with him at some point, did you not?
Yeah, when I was younger, yes. We had
Okay.
a very close relationship.
And then from what you're saying, if I understand it right, the females, I'm assuming you're talking about your grandmothers and your mom stepped into the gap?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was grandmother's, mother's, sister.
So let me see if I got this right. When you were being brought up, and you were being brought up by a mother who was enlisted or an officer in the military, an officer, wasn't she?
I don't know exactly what her rank is. I know she was a sergeant.
But in the Marine Corps?
Yes, sir. She was in the Marine Corps.
All right. And then you had a stepfather who was in the Air Force, right?
Yeah, he was.
From the time you were 3 all the way up to when they divorced in 2020?
Yes, sir.
All right. They taught you right from wrong, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we
Of
heard
course.
that from your grandmother,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Of course. Yes, sir.
Miss Lyle, she told us the same thing.
Right.
They brought you up in the church. They taught you about the 10 Commandments. They taught you about right from wrong. Did they not?
They did.
All right. And they were excellent role models about living your life in a disciplined, honest, and right way, correct? And being law-abiding, correct?
They really didn't have to worry about me. You know,
Well, let me just answer my question. Would you agree with what I'm telling you? That they were excellent role models of how to live a moral life?
Yes, sir. They definitely instilled the foundation.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
I have nothing else, Your Honor.
Okay, be ready.
Mr. Gathright, despite living, I think I did that. Despite having what you called a blessed upbringing, you still find yourself here today, right?
Unfortunately.
Where you had lived, we heard about Mississippi, and was Jacksonville different than where you had lived previously?
Jacksonville was unlike any other city that I've lived in or visited or any other country. The cultures, the neighborhoods, the people, it's completely different.
And how old were you when you kind of started experiencing that culture shock?
So when I moved to Jacksonville, I was about 9 or 10 years old. You know, I didn't really know much about what the streets were, quote unquote, the streets were. It was more whenever I got to high school and I wanted to leave the magnet school that I was at. I wanted to be at more of a neighborhood school to be around the people I grew up with, because at the magnet schools, it's 30, 45 minutes away. I, you know, didn't really know anybody. I wasn't as close as the people who I grew up with. So around high school, that's when I started hearing about, you know, and seeing, you know, the different things like, you know, the drugs and people dying and, you know, stuff like that. And then I was caught completely off guard, but I was curious, like, what is this? You know, I'm listening to the music, like, I was just, like, caught off guard. Like, I'd never experienced something like that, especially living in Japan and, you know, living in different states around the world. I mean, or in the country, it didn't have what Jacksonville had.
And we've heard from a lot of people that knew you, and I think it's been a pretty consistent theme that you were mature and, you know, smart and interested in things. But you were still what? How old around that time?
I was 14, 15, I definitely would consider myself to be smart and, mature for my age, but
Still curious?
I was still a young boy, I still am a young man.
You think you were kind of impressionable?
Definitely, I would characterize myself as, at times being naive, gullible, impressionable, and yeah.
And so despite that upbringing, are you finding yourself, you're in a different culture now, but you still want to be as successful as you can?
Yeah, so being in the jail, I'm by myself, especially in a city so far away. I don't know anybody, so I took this time to focus back in on myself and just get back to the basics, what I know, and without anybody being in my ear or influencing me, I've cut out the noise, there's not many distractions in jail, it's the same thing every day. So I started to work out and, programs, try to educate myself more, plan, stuff like that. Everybody asks themselves, or everybody asks God for things, what we want what we want God to do for us. But a lot of the times we don't ask what God wants from us. And so I've asked God that question, what do you want from me? I'm asking all these things from you. What do you want from me? And he told me that he's calling me, like, I feel like my calling, or what he told me, was to be there for the youth, serve the youth, keep them from going down similar paths, because there's a better way. And the streets is not the way. The streets are not the way.
Even having everything, trips and privilege and church and grandmas, and you still can find yourself going down a wrong path, right?
Objection, leading.
Sustained.
And you feel that that's your calling?
Yes, I want.
Objection, non-responsive.
Well, I think it's more asked and answered, but you go ahead and answer. Just yes or no. Just answer yes or no. Do you
What
feel
was-
that you're calling?
Just what you were describing.
Yes, I do. I would like to.
Well,
Objection,
no.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
no. You just gotta wait for a question, okay, Mr. Catherick?
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions.
Okay, very good. All right, members of the jury, I'm gonna have you step in just 2 minutes quick, and then we will return.
I never hit her. He insisted it was just an argument over a bag. Nothing more. The detective.
All right. So obviously there's nothing more to see there. But man, look what you got to go through. See, that part of the hood is never seen, right? That part of the hood is never seen. But they got to do the drill. Oh, that's funny. They put that in raps. They have fun with that. But the part that's never seen is when they're on trial after conviction, pleading for their life. Can we add that part in the rhymes, please? Dig. Can we add that part in the rhymes? Where they make drilling, drilling is just take the DR off, put the K there. They make that normal. They call it names where it seemed more normalized, because you couldn't put the K there and make it seem normalized. So they add the DR and they make it seem more normalized. Hey, somebody got drilled. Oh, okay. Word. Okay. Yeah, he was down with the 600 Black and this group, that crew. Yeah. But don't forget to add that part in there of the story. Pleading, begging for mercy, while the state is like, no, no, no. Where was that energy when before you had different energy? You was on demon time, and even afterwards you were on demon time. You were a part of the throwing of gang signs and the drinking down Julio. Why were you not remorseful then? That's what the jury want to see. The jury want to see the remorse when it's after the commission of crime and you're staying low key. Everybody else is on the social media. You're not. You're falling back. That's what the jury wants to see. Not you out there with the army style assault rifle coming. I mean, the dude came at the car head on. The car could have ran him over. This dude came at the car head on with his army style rifle, making sure the mission was completed. Bro, like, you are probably one of the last people who's gonna get a just a lifetime sentence. I think he has the worst case. He has the worst case. Really do. All right. Yeah, I think he got the worst case to argue to spare him. I don't see that happening. Don't see that happening at all. All right, so I'm gonna tackle a few things and we out. Tackle a few things. Let me include TikTok space and we out. All right. Let's include the TikTok space and then we are out of here. Hunger pains kicking in on early. Let me address the chat. Where is the chat? Oh, I can't even see the chat. Got to make sure we go hard on. I got to make sure I go hard on TikTok because we got a lot of FBA spaces that's toxic as hell over there, and they're selling out the family for some coins, clicks, and views. Peace, Tandra Williams, Ricardo Flott, Austell Gray, Southern Breeze, Real Black Matic, Baker Boy, Boot Camp, Rubies. I see you, Ty Carter, Oasis, Magic Ops, Magic Potion, Boot Camp. Yeah, Israel says the victim doesn't have these options. Trying to catch. He drove his mama car to his grandma's house, so he's using his family members to commit bloodlust. Folk is disrespectful, man. If somebody get the death penalty, maybe they stop. Right. That's what the example gonna be. Like, nah, y'all drill. You're going right where that person is at less than a year, or little over a year. We got Greta Woodson, the a-hole trying to get smart. He's like, don't tell me again. They are the masters of Millie Mouth. Right, man. Buck Horse. He said DC's in the building. FBA and Mr. CJ in the building. Don Jeter in the building. Life with no parole or the needle, and he only 20. Man, I know he terrified, gassing it up, gassing out the backside. Yeah, man. You talk about Bussy. Man. 20 years old. Yeah, he gonna be all about that Bussy in there. If he, doesn't DIE. He looks way too handsome for prison. He's gonna be someone's cell wife. Get the red Kool-Aid for this. Yeah, man. Sad. Madman. Nation within nation. Dope name. If he, Don Jeter said, if you don't get the needle, he may as well commit to being the most dangerous person in prison. He light skinned with, yeah. Oh my God. Earth Range remix said Grand Rising family judgment is upon the land. Well, right now judgment is in that courtroom. Summer Cloud said he better join the Nation of Islam. Yeah, man. Listen, man. Yeah, being that young, somebody will take him in, but that's sad, yo. Do y'all understand these dudes, like, if they do not get the needle, these guys will never be in society ever again unless they break out. Like, yo, is drilling that important? You're never going, like, some people feel like it's worth it. right? If you do something to somebody loved one, they feel like, hey man, whatever, I gotta get you up out of here. And if it is an exchange for my life, then so be it. But you gotta go. I can't live the rest of my days seeing you as a free man. So to some of those, so of course, to those people is well worth it. But this is the part of the drill that the drill story that's not being told uh, in the small hat um, and you know music industry. You dig? All right. So obviously on YouTube we have fun. We share videos. We chop it up. But when I go to TikTok, sorry family, it's straight business. We're gonna get right back. I'm gonna drill this message on TikTok. You talk about drilling. Yeah, the only drill I'm gonna do is drilling this message, drilling this lineage message um to the TikTok family. You dig? I'm a driller. I drill messages. All right. So let me drill my TikTok. I might not allow nobody up on TikTok today because I want to get this done. I don't want to be doing too much. Hmm. Right. Let me get this. Oh, I got some Facebook people that might be coming by. All right, all right, all right. All right, so I'm gonna stop. Yo, this heat is getting ridiculous. All right, so I'm gonna stomp hard on some things. Like I said, it's gonna be in and out. Um, so it's very important for us because I believe some of us getting warped to believing that social media is just for arguing goofiness, right? And not sticking to the core message that's supposed to be disseminating from our social media platform. So when people tune in to FBA News and Updates, and when they hear me speak about delineation so often, and also the importance of delineating terms, they kind of be like, okay, what's the next topic? Like they kind of almost sound like a tether. Like, all right, next talk. And no, if we're only talking delineation, amongst other things, until we're fully delineated and disaggregated data, and we got it on forms. Nah, it ain't next subject. No, it ain't done. It ain't done. Ain't no next subject. We're not done. You dig? Okay, so I'm trying to get this where I can see. All right. So I'm gonna speak on some things real fast, then I'm gonna get really deep. So the message goes out until we reach as many people as possible, right? As we're doing, platforms like my platform and other platforms, our constant message, our constant activism is getting people, attention. And people are coming over and say, hey, I'm new over here. I'm new, blah, blah, I'm new. And that's all because of the constant message, the consistent message of delineation. Not too much playtime, not too much back and forth, senseless back and forths. We're talking about real stuff here. So it's important to delineate. That's not a spooky word as many people make it out to be. It's not a divisive word. It's not a xenophobic word or a HATE word. Okay, we as Black Americans, when we say we're delineating, for those who are intimidated by that word, we are seeking more precise ethnic identification. One more time, when we say we're delineating, we're just seeking more precise ethnic identification, way beyond the broad racial category Black, because Black has been mucked up. Black has caused so much confusion, right? People, because Black dips into ethnicity and Black dips into race. Okay. So when Black Americans say Black, we're not talking about racial, considering all of Africa and Caribbean. From that. So how you're categorized as Black as a race or ethnicity matters. We're talking about government census. It matters because it's about how data, representation, political power, and historical claims can be blurred when very different populations are grouped together under one melting pot. Okay. So that matters. That's important too. Even like FBAs who hear delineation, hear somebody's talking points, even a lot of, yeah, are not complete versed out. You're not complete well versed in the talking points and understanding and how to express them, articulate them, and even argue them. So that's why a lot of times we know repetition is the best way to learn. So a lot of times I keep coming and talking about things, but normally I mix it up. So whatever I said the day before, if I speak about the same thing, believe me, I'm saying it a different way today. I put in more research. I'm more sharp today than I was yesterday and the day before, and so on and so forth. Okay, give me a second. Jeez. I think I know what I gotta do. Oh. It's like 100 degrees, and the dude is wearing a full shiesty. Okay. All right. So yeah, when you don't get the data straight, the representation straight, the political power straight, our historical claim becomes blurred when different populations are grouped into our group. Right now, we didn't know that this race box was going to be this wide open. Like it's like crazy. Like the paper genocide is so self-evident. Like they opened this race box so wide open and then made us believe that it was exclusive to us. So when they say Black crime, Black stats, Black representation, Black president, it made us feel like they are one through the lineage, through U.S. chattel slavery. We're not understanding they're using Black as a racial umbrella for anybody from Africa or anybody from the Caribbean, right? we're it's unbeknownst to us that in the United States, black is primarily treated as a racial category, right? And it's defined, who's included? People who are perceived of having African ancestry. Right? So these racial categories are so broad that they include many people with different histories, different cultures, different migration timelines. Some came Ellis Island, some came just yesterday. Political interests. Some people, as you see, come from that JLP, that Jamaican stuff, with how their politics are ran. And people got different ancestral experiences. People come from people who sold us, like directly come from people who sold us, as George Macon pointed out. So just to be clear, the U.S. Black category can include Foundation Black Americans, recent African immigrants, Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Latinos, mixed race immigrants from Europe or Latin America, or Afro immigrants from Canada, the UK, or elsewhere. That's to be clear. So those groups are all racially categorized as black, but obviously we all have different ethnicities, and we got different ethnic history, and we're different just sociologically. Okay, so we like, nah, you ain't gonna do us like that. You trying to do us like you did the indigenous people. You're trying to paper genocide us, and you have been doing it, but it's not game over. It was game over for them, but it's not game over for us. Like, we caught it mid-stride. This is why we're saying, no, we want clear ethnic delineation, okay? As I pointed out yesterday, what does delineate mean? So etymologically, in Latin, the D means completely, and the linea means line. So the root word of delineate is line, obviously. The root word of lineage is line, right? So it's all about the line. I call it the soul line. So what is this line doing? This line is drawing a line around something, right? So today, when you say delineate, it means to clearly define, to distinguish, to mark boundaries, to specify identity or scope. In other words, to delineate a group means to identify its boundaries clearly instead of leaving it vague or merge into something broader like race. Now, many ethnic groups in America delineate on a regular basis. Nobody complains. Italian Americans, Navajo Nation, Ashkenazi Jews, Cajuns, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Nigerian Americans, Chinese Americans, Mexican Americans, the Gullah Geechee, the Amish people, everybody delineate, and it's no problema. Why do people delineate? Why don't they just assimilate to be this one body monolithic American person? It's because they want to preserve ancestry, historical continuity, legal claims, cultural identity, demographic accuracy, political interest, right? So it's not a problem when the Dominicans think themselves from Mexicans. It's not an issue. But when Black Americans want to distinguish ourselves from recent African immigrants and recent Afro-Caribbean immigrants, it's evil to delineate. So when you guys play that role, we can't help it but to look at you as team white tea supremacy. Okay. So it even gets more the data. And all that means is we're separating broad categories into more precise subgroups. Okay, so instead of just being categorized as Black, instead of Black Americans just being categorized as racially Black, we're saying, nah. And everybody else, the African immigrants, Afro-Caribbean immigrants, they're just classified as racially black. We're like, nah, we ain't trying to Paul, wherever their name is, that's Haitian, or Saint Paul that's from the Caribbean. Whatever they do, their country needs to hold that. Okay. We're like, now you guys got to distinguish from us, descendants of U.S. chattel slavery, from the Nigerian immigrants, Jamaican Americans. You're going to disaggregate the data from Haitian Americans, Somalian Americans, and whoever else out there. They got to hold that. Okay, because they are using this flat black generic group to justify and speak to wealth gaps, incarceration rates, educational attainment, home ownership, historical eligibility for reparative, and the unique historical condition of us, Black Americans, who descended from U.S. chattel slavery, becomes statistically obscured. Obscured means it becomes unknown. Like, you don't know the damage. And that's what they wanted. Like, they don't want anybody to know the damage that we have received from systemic racism all the way back then with our ancestors to now. Because when you know the damage, you can calculate some type of depth. Oh, for that damage. So they're trying to obscure the damage. So we can never say, "Hey, man, you enslaved black people," like the Africans say. They never were enslaved, right? You see that? They were never enslaved, but they're in the black box. So they're in the same box as people who were enslaved. So therefore, that box can't be addressed, right? When it comes to slavery, that box can't be addressed because there's some people in the box who were not harmed. Who were not enslaved, Jim Crow and everything else. All right, so I got this weird guy on Facebook. He's not gonna hop on, but he's like hell bent on keep. I made one post about this topic to get some Facebook people over here, get some of the old heads, and let me get Linda over here then. Hold on, family. All right. 1 second, family. All right, now let me. One second. All right, so I invited her over here. She might be already a part of. She might be already a subscriber. That name sound familiar, Linda. Okay. She might be already a part of. She might be already a subscriber. And we had Hectic. Hectic responded. Try to get Hectic over here. Okay. Anyway. So the issue with, well, one of the issues with throwing in a bunch of recent immigrants into a black racial box, right? That's no help to us. It's a harm because it complicates the analysis of intergenerational poverty, reparations claims, as you know, historical discrimination patterns, or police policy targeting. All right. So we highlight lineage political representation, right? A lot of the representation that's out there is not our representation. Remember, they are the representation of black people. And when you hear black people like that, you got to automatically assume black people equals immigrants. I know that's wild. That's wild. That's wild. But if they are not from the lineage and they say black people, they are talking about immigrants. So if they're representing black people politically, they're representing African descent people that are immigrants that are not foundational. All right. Because there's something called a catch-all racial category. And when there's a catch-all racial category, they create situations where institutions claim black representation, but we know the representation is for immigrants, it's not for black Americans. So some black racial representation misrepresent us and represent immigrants in media representation, but under the black representation banner, university diversity programs, DEI, right? DEI corporate structures and political appointments. Because you got to ask yourself, why is all these black representatives out there? Hold on. And we are benefiting nothing. We're not benefiting at all. So we like, yo, how is this helping black Americans? So no, representation by race alone is not always the same as representation by historical lineage or ethnicity. Okay. So here are some harms of not delineating. You got statistical obscuring. Remember the stats, nobody know them because there's no delineation. We don't know how many black Americans are affected or denied or discriminated against. We don't know because you have a bunch of Africans in there and you have a bunch of Caribbean in there. Okay. We have political dilution, historical erasure, identity confusion, right? Because, and all this is there because people conflate race, nationality, ethnicity, and culture. So programs intended for one historical population may end up broadly distributed across unrelated populations, as we know is the case. So when you look at America, major groups in America has some form of ethnic specificity, but we don't. We're just generic blacks, generic Africans. And when we delineate to self-identify, to have some ethnic specificity, people say we're xenophobic and they gaslight us, say we're xenophobic and we're a hate group, right? We're divisive. That's the gaslight. The gaslight is to say we are being xenophobic and we're a HATE group because we say we want a specific ethnic name like everybody else. We don't want to be generically black. We don't want to have a racial name. What is a racial name? So historically and sociologically, the push for delineation follows a pattern seen throughout human societies, groups seeking clearer recognition of their own historical continuity, ancestry, and collective experience, and they never get attacked. That's just preserved for Foundation Black Americans. That's only preserved for us. So as many know, for months and months and months on end, I've been articulating a historical reality that our unique identity was systemically erased or repurposed, leaving us, Black Americans, feeling cheated out of our own identity, right? Remember, Dr. King, he began to embrace the term Black, even though he recognized Black has a negative stigma to it. It's taboo to call yourself Black historically. So even Dr. King began to embrace the term Black. And guess what he ain't do? He ain't check a box for him. What was he doing then? He was forging an ethnicity. Okay? By saying he's Black and beautiful, by saying we're Black and proud, Black power, all that type of stuff, we were forging an ethnicity. For centuries, we were the only BLACK people in America in any significant number. Centuries. We looked around. We done that. We looked around, and everyone who shared our skin color, our hair texture, was just us. Okay? Everybody who can be called Black in America was just us. Just us. There was no large population of the Caribbean, or no significant population of the Caribbean or people of Africa. The only people who could say they were Black was Black Americans. And when we said Black, when we said we were Black, Black this, Black that, that simply meant the people whose ancestors were enslaved on these shores, America, the people who built the White House and the Capitol, the people who cleared the land, a phrase I normally say often, I normally repeat. Okay, the people who endured convict leasing and sharecropping, the people who survived the terrorism of the KKK, the people who fought and died in the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and heck, every war since. You dig? So to us, Black wasn't just a race. It was our nationality. It was our culture. It was our shared history, our collective trauma, you can say, and our unified strength. Black was our okay. And then something happened. What happened? What happened? What happened behind our backs? It was a slow, quiet shift, but very demonic and explosive. White Tea America had Black documented as in spite of all of our forging Black to be our ethnicity behind our back, White Tea America had Black documented as a simple biological race in their systems, thanks to Walter Plecker and those alike. It was a box. Black was a race, was a box. Black was a box. It was a category, a tool of classification. While we were building an ethnicity out of the word, white tea people kept black as a cage, a dumpster, a cesspool for others to eventually be thrown into. So as most of y'all know, after the changes in immigration laws in the 1960s, the Hart-Celler Act, things like that, people from Africa and the Caribbean began arriving in larger numbers. And what did the system do? What did it do? It put them in the same box as us, the same black box, knowing we were using black as something exclusive, specific just for us and our history in America, our 400-year plus history in America. The white tea man undermined that and threw all these people who supposed to have African descent, African ancestry, they threw them all in that black box. Basically telling them, hey, you might be Nigerian, you might be Haitian, you might be Jamaican ethnically, but in America, you are black on paper. Okay, you're going to be black on. So when we give you a form, check that black box. You're black on paper. Because we are going to use this paper to undermine and sabotage black Americans. So obviously that was a diabolic move, right? They expanded the racial category of black to include everyone with African ancestry, all while we, us, foundational black Americans, still understood it as our exclusive ethnicity. So while we thinking black, it is us. Like we should only be the black people on earth. That's our ethnicity. We embraced it. Low key, they're making these immigrants black on paper. So somebody said in the chat, why be FBA claim your tribe? I don't know what tribe you from, but I'm not from a tribe. So you might want to call in and explain your tribe. I mean, like hit the invite. Hit the invite. Because FBA is a term. FBA is more than a term. FBA is a delineated term. Right? Just like Friedman, Adolphs, and Solon. These are all delineated terms attempting to address this problem, this dilution problem. So if you wanted to explain the tribe thing, then, you know what I mean, invite yourself up. I will allow you in. I'll invite you up. You dig? So we have these platforms for engagement. Like I'm having a monologue, but I don't mind having a dialogue. I invite people up on TikTok or YouTube to talk about this topic. Yeah, so I am okay. So I think he's coming up. All right. True in June. Is that your name? True in June?
Sure.
Okay. So, clarify what you were saying.
In our community, we believe the FBA is the information on how that emancipated slaves found freedom during Negro law. And when you look this up, and this is where it comes from the tribes, you know, you specifically told me to come up and talk about the tribes. I comment on.
Yeah.
Majority of Negro Indians or Aboriginal. When you look at these cases, the people that may be in your family, it may be a part of who you are individually according to the location you're at. So if you want to look up some tribal things, I'm quite sure that you can find a lot of tribes just already in your lineage.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So you're from what tribe you're from?
Well, I'm Missouri by blood. You know, I also identify as a UN and a Chicago. You know, records found and things of that nature. Cultures developed and simultaneously still being done at the same time as far as history is concerned. We do the same culture, the same different things in the same locations, the same place. The only thing that actually changed wasn't the people, it was actually the classification of these people and the origin of these people, which we know came from eugenic science and a guy named Franz Boas.
Wait, so before you go there with Franz Boas, are you familiar with Walter Plecker?
Oh, it's Franz Boas.
Well, hold on. I just asked the question. So what act did Walter Plecker write in to cause the reclassification for the land theft? Are you sure? Are you aware of that? Yeah, 1924, right? Yeah. So okay. So now the other guy, what's his name? Franz Boas. And what act did he put on the books? So I can look it up.
These guys. He the father of American anthropology.
All right. Okay.
The father of American African studies.
Right.
And he got a lot of different people. He had some women who started the sexual revolution, who studied Vietnamese sex life's a girl named Margaret, I believe.
Hold on. Wait. Before you go because we going too far, and you throwing the SEX word out there. All right. And you know TikTok got kitty language here. Okay. So let me, your ancestors work on the plantation, like do forced slave labor.
So far, but
Okay.
still, if I did find out, I would still have to find land deeds and land patents to say that they was not working on their land and the land was given away, but the housing and the people still staying the same.
Right.
You know, the company was.
Hold on. Brother, I got it, brother. I'm just trying to get one thing at a time. Okay. See, when I talk, I speak clear where people understand what I'm saying. Nobody's confused. You're talking a little fast. You're saying a lot, and I'm like trying to slow you down. Okay. So as far as your knowledge is concerned, you haven't found anybody in your lineage who ties themselves to a plantation where they did labor. They was forced to do labor, right? Okay. So I wouldn't right. So hold on. So I wouldn't consider you foundational. I wouldn't consider you foundational at all. Like I would say you and I are different. Okay.
I understand the way you think like that.
Right. Well,
slavery as a whole, you got to still take into consideration Indian slavery.
wait, hold on. Wait. Slow down. When we say foundational, do you know what that means? When we say foundational, what do we mean when we say foundational? Right. But I asked you a question though. I said, what do you think we mean when we say foundational?
To help create the civilization and society that's
No.
living now.
Well, okay, dude, you're speaking. Okay, so we're talking about the United States of America, right? We're talking about the railroads, right? The railroads, right?
Right.
Okay, were your ancestors part of the railroads? in the South. So was that forced labor, or were they hired as independent contractors?
We had all that. We all got paid. Yeah, it wasn't chattel slavery. Chattel slavery started with an Angolan man. It's court records on that. Named Anthony Johnson.
All right, brother. All right. Have a good one. Yeah. See, I'm not gonna be, you got on TikTok, you gotta be nice. Okay. So I'm not gonna do that. Right. So you see a lot of these tribal guys, they're just not us, like by their own words, and then they claim they us. Like it's like some backdoor weird stuff. He'll say nobody in his family is foundational, for real, for real. They were forced to do slave labor. Then he'll come back and say, then now he realized he's not one of us. So why are you in our spaces? Why you care? This ain't for you. And then he'll come back and try to act like he's one of us by another way, like wordplay. Like, dude, you just you just eliminated yourself, my guy. And then he said they got paid. He said our ancestors got paid to do the real. All right, dude, get up out of here. Ain't about to. Like these guys with their weird made up research, Francis Boas, all this goofy stuff. Like, dude, get up out of here. Like, and this is why I'm on TikTok to clean it up. And dude, you're not there, my guy. You're not there. You want some pseudoscience, made up Dr. Seuss research? We're not doing that. What I talk about is stuff that's verifiable in context, not because you said something and misrepresented. I'm talking about whatever I say, you can research it and it's going to be exactly the way I'm saying it. It ain't going to be my spin on research or my spin on words like he's doing. All these tribal folks, all you got to do is ask them, because these guys hate Black America. Oh my God, they HATE Black Americans, really. They're part of trying to erase us. Look at that. No, I have no ancestry that was forced to do labor, but I'm still one of you. You sound like a tether. That's what a tether would say. Now, of course, I knew he'd come here babbling, but it's still entertaining. But you got to know when to get them off to limit the babbling. Okay, dude. So I'm going to definitely clip that. Another tether trying to backdoor their way into our ancestry. The dude said he cannot find his ancestors doing forced labor to build the foundation of this country, but he's still foundational. Civilization. Oh, bro, you saying words, you're saying a bunch of stuff. Maybe you're saying the right words on purpose, incorrectly. I don't know. But I know once you slow these guys down, that's usually what happens. They become babblers. Crook Halfway said, didn't slaves purchase their freedom though? Leave that part history alone, Ron. You're not ready. I'm not ready. Okay, click the link. Let's talk about that time. Bro, dude, there's nothing you're gonna be able to talk about that I haven't talked about already. Okay. So, all right, well, you in my way addressing me too. So there's a link. Click the link. Click that link, buddy. There's nothing you're gonna be able to talk on that you think I don't know what I'm talking about. But that's all they do. They just run their mouth. And when they click the link, they always expose their ignorance. Like Buddy did, the tribal guy. Okay, so these guys are ashamed of chattel slavery, forced labor. We're proud of it because we did something you didn't do. You guys, I ain't gonna get on you. I'm gonna stay focused. But when y'all ready, just click the link. So back to delineation. So the result of the Black being categorized as a race is part of all of the confusion we see today. The term Black, the way we use it, the way Dr. King used it, was supposed to be our specific identifier, the name for our unique 400-year journey. But apparently, the white T man diluted it when he made the racial black box and made it expand to recent immigrants. Now, black has become a generic catch-all for anyone who fits a vague physical description. That's a fact. That's a fact. Somebody say I'm not ready. Somebody say I'm not ready, but won't click the link. Hilarious. And just as we established black as our own, our claim for reparations, our acknowledgement for our unique contribution, the white T man opened the floodgates and told everyone else they could use it too. You see that? The undermining. The white T man opened the floodgates and said, yeah, first of all, the white T man was like, how dare you black Americans empower yourself to rename yourself? Because you got to look at the context, the historical context. At that time, we were called by our enslaver names, color and Negro. So when we had the gall and the BALLS to name ourselves, you think the white T man was happy? By naming you your ownership, like they own you, you belong to their ownership. The first sign, the first actions of freedom, liberation, is to name yourself. That's why the Elijah Muhammad decided to put X as their last names, and even Booker T. Washington did the same thing. And not just him, but the people during that time, everybody was changing their last name. This is you could get that from the book Up from Slavery that I read. Okay, now. Because they swear we don't read. So we came up with a term that was exclusive for us and our struggles and gains in America. And the white T man said, we're going to use this for everybody else. So what happened? After immigrants told us, remember, a lot of African immigrants, Afro immigrants used to tell us they ain't black. We ain't forget that. They ain't black. They ain't lost. They know where they come from. They're Jamaican. They're Nigerian. They ain't lost. Don't call them black. Black means you're lost. You don't know where you come from. That's exactly how they gaslit us. Oh, I'm not black. I know where I come from. I come from this tribe and that country and this country and that country. You guys are lost. That's why you say you're black. So black to them wasn't a racial all-inclusive word. It was the word of people who are lost and don't have a culture. That's what black represented to them. All right. So we ain't gonna let that slide. But something happened in 2020, in the 2020s. All these same people who said they weren't black racially, now all of a sudden they black racially. What happened? But all I know is that when black Americans say they're black, and when Afro immigrants say they're black, we're using the same word, but we're talking about two different things. Okay. But we understand when the white T man expanded black to all of Africa and the Caribbean, it was something done by design. We know that. They wanted to muddy the waters. How dare you, Negroes, empower yourself and name yourself? How dare you? Okay, so they wanted to muddy the waters, undermine us. And a lot of that was to fracture our political power and to evade the specific debt owed to us, like they use the same paper genocide to avoid acknowledging what they owe the indigenous people. Family is called paper genocide. Can you get used to that phraseology? It's called paper genocide. The white man, by expanding the definition of black, they left us without a clear, delineated ethnic identity that is universally recognized. They literally stole our word and tried to erase our history by expanding the definition to include immigrants from Africa and the Caribbean. We built an identity from the mud, black, from our historical harm and gains, to sadly have it co-opted by the white man and diluted. It was specific, now it's unspecific. It was an ethnicity, now it's a racial term. It was for a specific ethnic group, now it's a catch-all category. Historically, the majority of the people classified as black in America were descendants of enslaved people of the United States. One more time. Historically, the majority of the people who can classify as black as an ethnicity or race were descendants of enslaved people in the United States of America. And the social meaning of black in America was deeply tied to our unique historical experience. So when we spoke as black people, right? When we said black or spoke of black people, black was tied to racism in America, segregation in America, disenfranchisement in America, lynching in America, Jim Crow in America, and a whole bunch of other things like redlining, sharecropping, convict leasing, exclusion from the Homestead Act, exclusion from the New Deal protections, the civil rights struggle, right? Exclusion from the HOLC, exclusion from the FHA in 1934. People who had to experience overcrowding, forced overcrowding, people who had to experience zoning laws and restrictive covenants. When we say black, we're talking about those people who went through all that. And the continuity went through all that to go through redlining, housing discrimination, and just being exploited altogether. Okay, so we refer to systems that specifically targeted us, descendants of U.S. chattel slavery. That's what we mean when we say black. The U.S. racial system developed primarily around black. Okay. It created anyway, chattel slavery, plantation economics, and later segregation. That's black. And then, like I said, mass incarceration, school to prison pipeline, 94 crime bill, the crack epidemic, stop and frisk. All those things are continuities. Housing discrimination, job discrimination, all that is a continuity of what started with our ancestors. So during the late 20th century, immigration laws changed, especially after 1965. The black race grift became more internationally diverse, and institutions increasingly treated black as a global racial category rather than a primary ethnic historical American population. That's what happened. That's the historical context. So today, the black race category includes Black Americans of U.S. chattel slavery, Nigerians, Jamaicans, Haitians, Afro-Latinos, recent African immigrants, mixed nationality populations, etc. This transition happened without clear public discussion. Nobody came to us. Nobody came to us and said, hey, black is not going to mean you guys anymore specifically. It's going to mean everybody who shares a race, phenotype, ethnicity, okay? No, not ethnicity, a racial phenotype. That's it. All you guys who have African ancestry and share a race phenotype and self acknowledge or self identify as black, all you are the same. True Engine, I don't know who you know I am, but I'm simultaneously on TikTok and YouTube, and my YouTube reaches 3 to 5 to 10K people, my guy, in 1 week. Yeah, so I'm new to TikTok. This is a TikTok takeover, my guy. I'm not you. You're the slow guy listening to me. I will never listen to you. Okay, I don't listen to others. I don't come to y'all space and listen to nothing you got to say. So yeah, go look up FBA News and Updates on YouTube, my guy. I'm live right now on YouTube. So yeah, it might be 4 or 6 people on TikTok, but thousands among thousands going to see this on YouTube. And bro, you're clipped. You're part of the content now. I'm going to use our dialogue, our discussion for educational purposes only. Okay, so Lena, today I'm not inviting nobody up because I'm in and out. I'm gonna finish what I said. I'm out. I got some things to do today, and I'm already behind. So I love you, sis, but I need to finish what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah. So I want to get in and get out. That's what I promised to do today. So, in spite of extending our ethnicity, black ethnicity, to as a racial category, as a catch-all category, we originally used black as an ethnic identifier, and we use it as a race because we thought that that's how this racial word is being used in America. We thought race is an ethnicity, you dig? Because we were the entire population who can be black racially in America. Okay, we didn't know that this was something to be later broadened and expanded to include African immigrants and people of the Caribbean as a way to dilute us, sabotage and reject and deny, exclude us. We didn't know that. We didn't know that. And now we know that it's game over. This is why we advocate for lineage-based identifiers, ethnicity-specific census categories, and disaggregated data collection. We argue that broad racial aggregation obscures means hide stuff, make it unknown. It obscures wealth disparities. It obscures historical claims. It obscures demographic trends. It obscures and specific policy concerns tied to Foundation Black Americans. And True Engine, you are one of those tethers who try to backdoor your way to lineage, but you messed up. You confessed that you have no U.S. chattel slavery ancestors, my guy. You're not foundational. We're delineating from you. So my point is about historical specificity, ethnic continuity, and the desire for explicit recognition of a distinct Black American lineage within a broader racial framework. This is important for conversations about census data, disaggregation, reparations, representation, and identity politics in the United States. Right? So when you look at the historical timeline, our ancestors, okay? When you look at history, family, when you look at the historical timeline, it is so clear that Ray Charles can see it. Okay. True in June, my guy. It's okay, my guy. You're tethered. It's okay. You're not me, and I'm not you. Okay. If you look at our historical timeline, not yours in June, Black American historical timeline, you would see that our ancestors, not yours, weren't fighting for generic racial equality. No, our ancestors were not fighting for generic racial equality. They were fighting for the specific rights, our specific rights, reparations, and recognitions owed to us who built the American infrastructure under the lash, not you in June. Okay? I ain't mad at you, Tupac. I'm just educating you. So what I do is I describe a process where the word black was effectively nationalized by the government, the Walter Pleckers, in the 19th and early 20th centuries, right? There was no confusion in the American mind about who black referred to at that time. Okay? Even Negro in America, but black. It was common knowledge that black referred to the survivors of the domestic chattel system and our descendants or their descendants. And the weird thing is that if you are legitimately from a tribe, an indigenous tribe in June, then why are you at us? You dig? We want indigenous people to be repaired for the land theft and things like that. But you're not. We're not you, and you're not us. We got a different fight. You can support us. We can support you if you are truly from a tribe. But the energy you came with, yeah, you ain't from a tribe, bro. You are from the Caribbean or somewhere, and you're the Arawak Nation, and you're trying to tether on to something that doesn't belong to you. Okay. So anyway, by turning black into a racial umbrella, the government and modern sociology achieved three things that harmed black as an ethnonym. Okay. I'll get into that. Yeah, I'm trying to read the chat while I go. I'm trying to read the TikTok chat and the YouTube chat, which is very difficult as I go in. I'm drilling. This is called a real drill. I'm drilling information in your head because this is repeated, but it's worded differently. I never come with the same information like that. I always, have a better way to drill it in your heads. Okay. Anyway, three things that the government and modern sociology achieved that basically ruined black as an ethnonym and expanded it to a racial category, a catch-all cesspool for everybody. So if racism is a broad umbrella that covers anyone with melanin, that's what it is today, then the specific debt, the debt that's owed to black Americans for 250 years of slavery and 100 years of Jim Crow is now diluted, right? And it is because these immigrants are allowed to be in the racial black box, well, if the debt was owed to black people racially, then now it's owed to those black people in the racial box as well. Those immigrants who have no such history, no attachment, but they're in the black racial box. That's a finesse. They're in the black racial box. So if the debt is owed to black people racially in America, and now it's extended to foreigners to be in the black racial box, then the debt is now owed to them. And if the debt is owed to them who are unqualified, then the debt is owed to no one, because the debt can't be owed to unqualified people. So all of us that are qualified for reparations and any historical harms that we could prove through genealogical records, if one comes from a different line in Haiti or Africa, they are naturally disqualified. You get it? So if they are allowed into our ethnic group, then everybody's disqualified. It's called poison the well. Everybody in the ethnic group are said to be descendants of people of that time. So if there's people in the ethnic group or that racial box who are not descendants, then it spoils, it destroys the whole claim. These are some of the major reasons why we're delineating, to keep that claim box, keep that claim group, that claimant, to keep that claimant pure. We don't want people unqualified in the claimant group poisoning the entire box. So delineating is a cleanse word. We're cleansing the ethnic group and making sure only qualified people are in there. And that makes the claim a good claim. All right. So everyone in America is allowed a home and a lineage, right? Some people say, hey, I'm Irish. Some people say they're Nigerian and Korean, right? But forcing Black Americans to stay in the category of Black racially, remember, delineation takes us out of the Black racial category and gives us a home like everybody else. He's Nigerian, he's Korean. That's not a racial term. Nigerian, Korean, Irish, those are not racial terms. Those are ethnical terms. So our ethnical term got co-opted to a racial term, so therefore we don't have an ethnic term. Even African American is also in the racial box. Go look at it. It's what's your race, Black or African American? So these are both racial terms. So they turn our ethnicities into racial terms, so therefore we don't have an ethnicity. This is why we're delineating for more than one reasons, but it's to have an ethnicity. Once again, we're not just generic Black people. We're not generic Africans. I know that makes sense. So nobody can deny us the right to a distinct cultural boundary, right? So you got the Homestead Act, right? So while our ancestors were being funneled into sharecropping and convict leasing, the Homestead Act of 1862 gave around 270 million acres of land, mostly for free. They had a small registration fee, but that was to white families, including many new white tea immigrants. Okay, that was a massive government handout for the people who tell us to pull up our bootstraps. We're lazy. Nobody's more lazy than the white tea man in America. That was a massive government handout, one amongst many that I point out, that helped build. It was so massive. That's almost 200 years ago. And the white tea middle class today was based on the Homestead Act of 1862. That's how massive that handout was. Okay. And it's crazy because they handed out land that we made possible. We are the ones who cleared the land. That was our acres, millions of acres, but we were legally barred from owning it. You copy? Okay, so let's catch up to today. So the shift to include all people of African descent under the Black racial banner without delineation was a political maneuver that effectively reset the clock. It allowed the U.S. to pretend that the struggle started in the 1960s. One more time. I didn't catch that. I don't think you heard me. I want to do the shift to include all people of African descent under the Black racial banner without delineation was a political maneuver that effectively reset the clock. It allowed the U.S. to pretend that the struggle started in the 1960s with civil rights rather than in the 1600s with labor and theft. So under race, under this broad race category, we're just one of many people with African ancestry, right? But under a delineated term like FBA, Adolf Freedman, we are a member of a specific group with a documented history of systemic sabotage. And you got some examples, the Freedmen Bank, the HOLC redlining, that no other group shares. It's our name and I want it now. This is why the terms FBA, Adolf Freedman is more than just a name. It is a forensic tool. It separates the race, which is a social construct used to categorize. It separates race from the ethnicity. Okay? That's what delineated terms do. It separates race from ethnicity. And ethnicity is a lived history and a bloodline, not race. So when we delineate, we make it impossible for the blur to continue, for the obscurity to continue. Right? We force the conversation to acknowledge that we, Black Americans, experience isn't just a feeling or a color. It is a specific economic and social trajectory that was interrupted by the state. Okay? So racism in America was not a general dislike of others. We just don't like others. It was a specific technological of extraction used against one specific lineage to build a global superpower. So by claiming a new name, FBA, Freedman, Adolf, we are effectively rebranding the truth that the government is trying to hide under a broad racial label like Black. We are reclaiming the right to be a unique ethnic group rather than just a percentage in a census bucket. Because that's all what Black is. When you become Black, you become a percentage in a census bucket. There's no distinction between you and there's no this real distinction between us and a person like True in June. He's from the islands. Mick J, peace, man. Buckhorse, peace. Ruby, peace. We got Tandre Williams. We got who else in the we got Laura Mall stepped in here. Yaya Israel. True in June. That sounds like it's more than 5, my guy. We got Ricardo Flat in the building. The family's here. Baker Boy. See you out there. Chad Smith in the building. Yeah, it's gonna be get in, get out live. Yeah, but the family's definitely here. Tether Hunter. Well, I got one for you. His name is True in June. That's a tether for you. We got Lexus Berry in the building. Nice to see you. Crook Halfway, want to click the link, huh? Thank you, Allie Howard, for the jewels. Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, but in June, if you want to talk, man, go to the YouTube. Go to YouTube and click that link. We could talk further. But I'm not gonna tolerate you on TikTok, but on YouTube, I got more tolerance. I forgot to tell you that. On TikTok, zero tolerance for stupidity. But YouTube, I'll entertain you a little more. Okay. So go to YouTube, my guy, and click the link now before I hop off. And we can hear you out. Your craziness. So Epic Studies. That's a dope name. I like that name, Epic Studies. He said to answer the question, Africans are black ethnically as defined by the United States. Are you sure? Yeah, let me invite you up. How do I invite you up? How do I invite you guys? Epic. I like that name though. Epic. Um, Epic Studies. I want you to explain that. Invite yourself up so I can allow you up to explain what you just typed in the chat. That sounds like some extra news there. Epic Studies. Are you still here, man? Click that link. I want to hear what you got to say about that. Sometimes people from the chat, when they pull up, they say some stuff that's clever, and I throw it to my wallet. I put it in my wallet. I put it to my research, and I use it for myself. So I learned a lot from the chat, by the way. Coming on the panel talking to me. Sometimes you say crazy stuff like true in June, and sometimes you guys say things that's clever, witty, and I borrow it. Or like Lena, like she had me research some things about double dipping, and it was interesting because I was kind of reluctant at first, and I said, let me look into it. And it was really, really interesting. I did a couple lives on double dipping. Thank you, Lena. But I wanted Epic Studies to hop on. I wanted to hear about Africans being ethnically black. You know, I think you might have mistaken something there, Epic Studies. I think you read something incorrectly when you said our government defines Africans are black. I don't believe that's even possible. By the way, Epic Studies. When I say Africans, I'm speaking to anybody of African ancestry that are not Black Americans, that are not found Black Americans, that are not America, United States of America. Anybody outside of the United States of America. So that's the Caribbean, that's Brazil, that's Cuba, all these places in Africa. Are those people black ethnically? It's not just Africa. That's the question. So that's the question for YouTube. That's the question for TikTok. Are there anybody besides Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, that are black ethnically? Are Africans? Are the Caribbeans? Are Cubans? Are Brazilians? Are Panamanians? Are Haitians? Are these people black ethnically? That is the question. So we got Epic Studies in the building. Yes, sir. He loud and clear. Thanks for pulling up.
All I'm gonna just explain this part that you asked me to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna step off, but yes, I was referring to those racial or ethnic classifications according to the United States government. That's why I worded it the way that I did, and I made sure I put in according to the United States government. That's why I said that. So according to what I said, yes, I'm 100% correct. According to the United States government, black people, as ethnically black
No.
as defined by the
No.
United States.
No. Not see see. Look what you did. What you read, I read. So you racially. Okay. So when you're black, ethnic. No. I know.
No, I get paid for that.
Hey, bro.
I came up here just
Bro.
to give that. That's all.
I got you. But you added in. But you added in. Because you're not the only paid teacher. I get paid to teach as well, my guy. So you went out.
If you're a person having origins in any of the so-called black racial groups of Africa, then you're black. If you don't,
Hey, bro.
Ethnically,
Hey, bro. Black is a racial construct, right?
clarify myself, so I have.
Right.
So that's all I want.
So you don't want.
You have me.
Okay, I got it. So you don't want no pushback. I got it. And this the problem, family. When y'all study and y'all claim I get paid to study, and you don't want no pushback, you say you want. I know for a fact it's an exonymic word. So epic studies got horrible epic study habits, and this is why he babbled and hopped off. Smart man. I respect that because you respect me. If you did respect me, you'd have stayed on and and let me just chop that up. But these people know, family. They know. They know they're lying, and they know when to hop off. Oh, I get paid to do what? You just gave us free information. But it was garbage. It was poison. But he hopped off real fast. I know the word ethnically is not there. He just lied in front of everybody. So if you were getting paid, then bruh, today's price ain't gonna be tomorrow's price. You better start offering discounts. If you do get paid to research and study, then that's horrible. Then today's price ain't gonna be tomorrow's price. You better start offering discounts. That is horrible research habits. What you don't do is add. You don't add information to make it sound better. I know for a fact the word ethnically is not there. They are ethnically from their homeland, my guy. That's what you ran from. You ran from that pushback. They are ethnically from Africa. So the racial black groups, I don't know what that means, but the racial black groups are extended to, I guess, anybody from Africa. But they're not ethnically black. They're racially black. It's a big difference. So epic studies, again, I'm gonna use you for a case study. So you might as well change your name because hopping off Cali like that, it's a bad look, my guy. Bad luck. Racially and ethnically are not synonymous words, my guy. But this is what happens when people are in the internet playing smart. They get exposed really fast. I told you, when people hop on my panel, they rarely leave sounding smart. That dude ain't want no pushback. Oh, I'm out of here. I get paid. Come on, man. I get paid, bro. If you do get paid, then today's price ain't gonna be tomorrow's price. You need to start offering folks discounts. Even True in June said pushing African studies is delusional. My man came on here with a bachelor's in African studies, my guy. He hopped off so fast, dude. I would love to have a conversation with you and your African studies, yeah. I would love to have a conversation with you, epic studies, and your African study background. How much you get paid? Like, how much you want to have this conversation with me? This conversation. How much you want, bro? Type it in chat. How much you want? It has to be a minimum hour and a half chat. I mean, yeah, while we dogging. How much you want, bro? Hour and a half. Cause I know you don't want more than $10. You want $10? I give you $10. Hour and a half, or maybe an hour, 40 minutes maybe. But we're gonna dialogue. You're gonna answer questions. You're gonna ask me questions. Okay, but we ain't gonna talk over each other like you did just now. I got $10 for you. Yeah, so for the TikTokers, if you like what you heard coming from myself, my space, you can like, you have been liking the video. Keep liking the space. You can also contribute to the work. $ unbiased Ron, biased with an ED Ron, $ unbiased Ron. You can support the activism, the real research, not what he just made up. And see, that's the thing. People on social media, especially TikTok, they're so used to just saying any old thing and getting away with it because the average TikToker scholarship is foo-foo. So what I'm doing Epic Studies is I'm bringing scholarship back. Well, not back, but I'm bringing scholarship to TikTok as a standard of communication. That's what I'm doing. You got a problem with that. You have a problem with that. They show up wearing a suit and they leave naked. Somebody said he ain't worth $1. Yeah, my guy. You got to be honest, my guy. When I call you up, to speak, try to be as honest as possible. True and June was being honest compared, what he had going on. Like he's using his research, which is like jokes.com, but he came with his truth. You didn't come with your truth. You made up and said ethnically, you added that in there. He's going to define it, family, by the OMB standards, and then don't tell you when he's when he's inserting his own opinion. He threw in ethnically because he thought unbiased Ron didn't know the definition that the OMB uses for black. Epic Studies. Going further, just know this black topic, this is mine. I'm the baddest person on earth with this black topic. Okay, so you're not going to sneak in a lie. I study almost everything. I know that you only read the OMB definition, my guy. I know you did, and you probably don't know what the OMB even is, and when it started. At least True and June knew who Walter Plecker was. I don't think you knew who Walter Plecker was, my guy, calling up. But you're supposed to have the Epic Studies. My man ran off like a mouse. Like a mouse on your kitchen stove. You're in the projects, right? You're in the projects. You come home, there's a mouse in your kitchen stove. You walk in that building, that small struggle apartment. You're like, I know he didn't. I just had a long day, and I know that mouse, if you try to throw everything at that mouse, he ran like that, like a mouse being caught in a project building. You cutting the lights on, coming home at 3 a.m. after a party, club. That mouse like, oh man, I got to get out of here. That dude hauled ASS. That's what happens when you peek your head into a room, you lose it. Okay? So everybody listening now, as I come to a close on TikTok, make sure you haven't been following me, follow me. I normally go live around this time. You dig? I love talking about delineation. I love talking about who's black, who's not. Ethnically, that's why in the title it says ethnically. You dig? And maybe tomorrow be Garvey's time. Maybe because some of you guys love Marcus Garvey. You into Epic Studies. You probably love Marcus Garvey. So maybe I get on Marcus Garvey tomorrow. But black is always, no matter what I talk about, black is always the topic. So I can easily always go to black out of nowhere. I don't care if I'm talking about save Mother Earth, go green. At some point, I'm gonna talk about who's black and who's not ethnically. I know you guys are black racially because the white T man said so, but being black ethnically is because I said I'm black, not the white T man. That didn't happen in Africa. That didn't happen in the Caribbean, my guy. You're capping. Because I would love for you to tell us, like, how can America make somebody ethnically something? Yo, the white T man called them black racially, so now they're black ethnically. What? The white T man called them black racially, and to call somebody black racially mean, hey, you look like you got dark skin, and you look inferior to me. I believe you're inferior, so you're black racially. That's all that means. Hey, you're black racially, therefore you're inferior to the white T man. Get in this category. Let me classify you as the low tier. That's all that means to be classified as black. Let me document and trace the people who I believe is lower than the white T man. You're the bottom of the racial hierarchy. And to them, to the white T man, the white T category, the white T racial box is the top. The white T racial category is the top. The white T man ain't called people black in Africa and the Caribbean because they felt like you were good people, hardworking people, tall, black, and beautiful. That's not why they called you black. They called you black to stamp you as inferiors, like they did with us. But the white T man ain't called black before we called ourselves black. We called ourselves black, and the white T man said, "Hi, the Negro." And that's the racial category they threw the indigenous people in to take their land from them, to steal their identity, to blur and make them invisible as an ethnicity. So to white T man did the same thing. He said, okay, the new category is black, fine. That's going to be the new racial class, and we're going to put FBAs there, and we're going to make them invisible the same way we made the indigenous people invisible category to steal from black Americans, ethnic black Americans. We're going to make sure that we deny them anything that's owed to them under this invisible racial category called black. Okay? All right, family. I'm gonna bring it to an end. I hope y'all liked on YouTube scene when I went in on well, I actually played the unfortunate trial of those suspects in the Julio Fulio trial, and they were arguing before the jurors and the jury. They were arguing before them why they should be spared and they should be able to live out their lives in prison without any sudden deletion from the state. And I don't think it's going to end well for them. I think majority of them will be deleted, and especially that Gathright guy, that Delights can do. I think he's a goner. I think he's a goner. We got the Forex master in the building. He said, go get gold now. He says, go buy gold. The Forex master, he tuned in. Mr. Prison Talk. What kind of name? Hey, man, come up here, Mr. Prison Talk. What? Yeah, so I'm thinking that name where you educate people in prison. Like people like Sean Gathright. I don't think Prison Talk mean you just talk about, well, maybe you talk about your prison stories. Hey, man, look, you want to do that one day? I'll create a space for you where you can talk about your prison talk, take questions from the chat, talk about your personal experiences, what you went through and what you've seen. I think that's a dope segue to something different. You dig it? All right, family. Coming to a close. You know, I always end on YouTube and I forget to end on TikTok. It's crazy. Yeah, he was a fool. Fully for that. All right, family. We out. Like, share, subscribe, support. $ unbiased Ron. We are out. Peace.